I've smoothed out this neck quite a bit. I just moved the camera. Gotta get this in the right position. Alright, so, sorry about that. I got this eye in here. See, he's got a nice little eyelid. You can see the eyelid. You know, look at that. I'll put eyelashes on there. What I do with this piece, instead of poking it on the eye over and over, I take a separate piece and compress that down and then place it over the eyeball. So I did have a problem with the other eye, and I had to rip it out, which I'll show you. But look how much more bulk is on this giraffe. He's not so skinny now. I still want to make this a little wider, because if you look at this picture, look how round those front lips are. And I still need to put a little more on his face, his cheeks. You can see I put the ears in. Now what I did there is I used some felt, and it's the soft felt. And I cut the shape. First I drew the shape with a pencil on my felt, and then I cut it out with my scissors. You can see that, right? Can you see that? Cut it out with my scissors, and then of course I cut it in half. And so I got two ears that look pretty much symmetrical. But then in addition to that, I took my core wool and I poked it all, knitted it in there, and I'm going to do the back like I did this one. And that gives you a nice kind of stiff ear. Plus, he's got a lot of cartilage that comes around here. So that ear is not completely done, but it's more done than this ear. You can see that it's... But I think he's starting to look pretty good. Now, I did discover I need to know my wool better. But that the longer fibers, when you bend them over, are much better than that orange I added before, because you have more length. These came out a little too short, I think. I want them. So I am out of sienna, so I ordered some more today, and I'll just add that back in. Because this, as it is longer, and then I'll trim it off, put it in, poke it in, and then you can get it to stand up and look better. See, that looks better down here than I think this fuzzy wuzzy stuff. So, felt for the ears, used the core wool, and I used brown in here instead of black. And I had to rip out this eye because when I looked at him head on, it was not symmetrical. His eye was too low. And it's a good thing I didn't glue it in, because it's much harder to get out. So that wasn't too bad. But I will poke in his lower eye now. And add some of the brown in there. I got my purple needle in here. You have to keep looking, make sure you've got enough bulk. He needs more down here in his cheek. His cheeks. Okay. You can still see it's a little rough, but I'm not done yet. So I'm going to put some brown in here. Might be too much. Try not to poke it under the eye because then you're going to change the eye color. So he's got like a little V shape under his eye. And don't go under the eyeball. If you put too much, whatchamacallit, brown in there, you can always trim it off. Well, now let's look at the other side. See, I think that might be too much. But I can cover it with some white. Now, I didn't put any, whatchamacallit, brown on this side because of the eyelid that's coming over. So I just have it on the top here. So I'm going to make that little piece, and I want to, flatten this out. Now there's another good trick. I think I've showed this in another video. Is you can use a piece of plastic and just fold it. This way you prevent from poking your fingers, and you mash it down like this. This can give you a false sense of security though. If you fall out of the plastic, you'll poke yourself. So I kind of like just trying to poke it between my fingers, but it works out pretty good. And it condenses this eyelid down so that I'm not constantly poking it in the eye. Just try to get that all the same size or width. That same size, not necessarily. I hope you can't hear that movie in the background. Alright. I don't like to have total silence while I'm working. Maybe it comes from being in a family of 5. Now, I'm going to put that on top. I want to look over here. It's a little slanted on the downside. So, I want it to go like that. Will I ever get this right? I will. I will. It's just wool. That's all. You can either pull it out or cover it up. Just because I have this much wool doesn't mean I have to poke it all in. So, cut it off. I can stick it in his nostril. That's what I can do. So I don't waste it. Oh, for heaven's sakes. So, now he's got wrinkles coming out of here. Now you can do the same thing with a wrinkle. Start rolling in my hand first. That helps compress it. Stretch it out. And I'm going to put it up here. It's too big for down below. That's good for here, I think. Because he's really got a big knot for an eye socket or an eye. Now also, you know, this looks like a an accent, which I can cover with a lighter color, because technically in here this looks like gray to me, but that's the detail down the line. And maybe I should have not added the head until after I got the neck completely finished, because this thing gets in the way, but then again it won't be as secure. I don't know. It's practice makes perfect. So I got one of these is a little taller than the other, so I can either compress this one down or add to that. I'll worry about that later. Just put a little more on top of his head, right about here. Now in painting, they say there's no lines in the face. So, almost true for needle felting, because you don't want to see a groove down here. You want it to transition down the mountain, up the mountain, down into the valley. See, and that, I think that looks better than this harsh crevice. But that's drawing with wool. Wrap that around. I don't want to needle felt my bottom jaw to my top jaw, so you got to be careful about that. Okay, turn this way maybe. Not only that, this hand is not useful because I got to hold the neck out of the way. So maybe it's a better idea to do the neck, then do the head, then put the two together. I need a third hand. Alright, so I certainly don't want that platypus mouth. I do want to keep the roundness of it, or else I'm just going to end up with a longer lip. Starting to look pretty good. I got to do lips on his bottom lip. You see how they have these little wrinkles? And then there's a lip. Then I'm going to have to look at giraffe teeth. Although I don't know if we want a giraffe with a tooth. I was thinking maybe a tongue. Do something like that. So there's the eye. This still needs, I gotta shape the jaw. But I think he's looking pretty good at this point. Seeing that wire will be good. Maybe his head will come down like that. Giraffe. Right? You see how short that one is? No big deal. Just fix it.